Hey everyone, and welcome back to Ontario Cryptids. First off, this weekend is a holiday here in Canada, so for all my Canadian viewers and subscribers, happy Canada Day. So far it's been a wet start, but hopefully by the time you're watching this, we're going to have a nice sunny day. If you've been enjoying the content, why not take a quick second to hit that subscribe button? By subscribing, you'll never miss out on the latest episode, and you'll be joining a community of like-minded individuals who share your interests. Let's keep the journey going together. Thank you for your support. If you have an encounter story that you would like to share, then please forward your stories to OntarioCryptids@gmail.com. I would be honored to share your story with like-minded people. Now sit back and relax as we begin with today's episode. This one takes place sometime after November 15th in the year of 62 or 63. We're going to be heading to Manistee County, Michigan, and the nearest town is Manistee. I was deer hunting in a swamp, back end of Clay Bank Swamp. I was by myself and in my favorite spot that I have picked out since I was about 14. I usually go in before daybreak and I don't come out until dark. And I packed a lunch with me. The day was normal. Several does, no bucks. About half an hour before dark, I heard a loud scream just off to the north of me. I had never heard a sound like that before in the woods. A minute later, a branch was broken off of a tree in the same direction. It was not a small branch as it cracked loudly. At first, I just watched closely in that direction, wondering what the heck was that. And then caution set in, as like I said, I had never heard anything like that. I hunt with a Krag 30-40, so I took the safety off and wrapped my thumb around a bolt to prevent accidental discharge, and then I was going to wait for dark. But again, caution told me to get out of the swamp. Then butterflies set into my stomach because of the unknown, and I had an urge to run, but I refused, as I have been in the woods most of my life hunting, and I know that running will set off a chase with a predator. So I walked slowly and constantly rubbernecking to see if I could see anything. I didn't. When I got to my car, I started the engine. I left the door open and set my .357 Smith & Wesson on the roof where I could reach it. Set my Krag up there also. I took off my coat and put it in the back seat. Unloaded the Krag and I put it away. All the time watching where it had come from. What I did see is this. Whatever was in the woods followed me back to my car. I did not see it directly, but it was about 35 yards standing beside some heavy swale. I could see the form. It was on two legs, quite broad and about 8 feet tall. I picked up my .357 and I got in the car and I left. I did not unload the pistol until I was at least a quarter of a mile away. I also did not hunt in that swamp again for several years. I hunt there again now, as I feel whatever they are, which I believe is a Sasquatch, they are not dangerous. I do hunt there again now and I'm not afraid. This happened in late November of 62 or 63. This next one takes place on November the 8th of 2014. We're heading to Pierce County, Washington, and the nearest town is Spanaway. I stepped out back for a smoke while I was on the phone. I heard a whooping sound. I stopped talking to my friend and continued to listen. I thought it might have been an elk, but after hearing an elk sound, definitely not it. The whoop did not tail off. It was a medium, not high-pitched whoop. Very loud. Only way I can describe it is like a football punt. Whoop! But stopped at the high point. There was 3 or 4 of them, and it lasted around 3 seconds each. I continued to hear, and you could hear the rustling in the thickets. I ran inside to get my roommate to hear it, When I got back out, all the dogs in the neighborhoods were barking. I have had odd instances at the house, such as someone knocking on the bedroom windows, sometimes slapping the windows. I got a security alarm, for we thought someone was trying to break in. Who knows? We'll continue to keep an eye out. This next one takes place on February 25th of 1998. We're going to be going to Cambria County, Pennsylvania, and the nearest town is South Fork. I will tell you about my visual incident. I was walking in the woods behind my old place when I heard some noise. At first, I thought it was a deer or something, so I looked to see what it was. When I looked, I'd seen its face. It was one of the scariest things I had ever seen, but at the same moment, it was interesting. As soon as it looked at me, it then walked off. I ran as fast as I could back home, but I don't even remember my feet touching the ground. Now I'm going to tell you about what it looked like. It was about 8 to 9 feet tall, an educated guess. Its fur was a dark color, a cross between a brown and a black with a tint of red to it. Its face was like a cross between an ape and a man. The nose was ape-like. The skull was sort of like a gorilla's and had the look of a man's structure in the face. It was greatly built in body and muscle mass. Later, my friend and I tried to get a plaster cast of one of the footprints, but it didn't work. But we did get photos of the footprint and stuff. Right now, towards winter is the best time to see them, because they are easy to find and see. Later, I heard a very strange noise like a cross between an elephant and something I have never heard before. This one takes place October of 2008. We're going to be headed to Oscoda County, Michigan, and the nearest town is Glenny. I am 41 and I've hunted this area in northern Michigan a lot. First, let me begin with what I've seen several times in an area that I've been bird hunted hundreds of times. For years, I have hunted grouse along a cedar swamp that runs along a farmer's field. There was a spot where I found numerous bones and some kind of scat. I thought it was a coyote that was feeding off the farmer's cows, or an area where coyotes would drag deer. I'm not sure what kind of bones, but they look like cow or deer. The grouse would often flush from trees, so I figured a coyote or bear was in the area a lot. The area is a straight shot, and it runs about 2 miles and has a lot of down trees, and is really an ankle break type of hunt, lots of stumps and holes where trees have been uprooted. Last week while hunting, I noticed what I thought was a dead bear about 30 yards to my right. I only looked in that direction because of a very foul odor. It was hairy and just laying there. It looked out of place and had no movement. The area I hunt is very moist and soft, so you can be very quiet. Just to make sure it wasn't a wounded bear, I grabbed a fallen tree limb and started hitting a tree. Whatever this was looked in my direction and jumped to its feet. It was standing upright. It really got up in a hurry and made a quick exit, and it was running upright away from me. The noise it made running through the woods was very loud, crashing, so I knew it was a very large animal. After the sighting, I went over to where it was laying, and I noticed a large bedding area that had ground dug up and fallen tree to the east of the bed or resting area. It was the last day of my hunt. I took a few pictures with my camera phone, but the images did not come out very clear. My next trip to this area is in 10 days, so I plan on taking more quality pictures. I'm not sure what I saw. It could have been a wounded bear that was hit with an arrow that couldn't use its front legs. I didn't see any blood, but it was upright and it looked like a Bigfoot. I'm still a little shook up about the whole thing and I'm embarrassed to tell anyone. My gut tells me it wasn't a bear. My head tells me it wasn't a Bigfoot. Sorry if the story isn't what you're looking for. I wrote this story about a month ago, and I was embarrassed to submit it. The more I thought about what I saw, the more I can't remember looking at it and expecting to see a bear. It was puzzling to expect to see a bear, and then you see something you can't explain. I've asked myself 1,000 times, could this have been a bear? Maybe it hurt its front legs and was forced to try to escape on its hind legs. But it moved too fast and navigated around trees too easily for it to be a wounded bear. Then when it looked at me, I expected to see a long face of a bear, but it wasn't. The only thing I noticed more than anything is that it had a very large rear end. I haven't been back, but when I do go back, I will take pictures of the area. Still kind of shook up about the whole experience. I'm trying to relive the encounter over and over again in my head. I haven't told anyone, and I doubt I will. It's a very big part of my life now, and seriously has put me in a very bad state of mind with many questions. I planned on going back up there to the area the following weeks, but have not. Wow, guys, some amazing encounters this week. Very often you hear of people who have witnessed Bigfoots for the first time having issues dealing with what they've seen. I think this is what has happened to this person in the last story. Your brain tries to protect you from something that is not supposed to exist. So when you do see one of these beings, you try to explain it away to be something other than what it is. And in this case, I think this person saw a Bigfoot, not a bear. Okay, let's acknowledge our current OC members. I would like to thank Elizabeth, Jim, Diana, and Teresa. Thank you guys for your contribution and your support. It is greatly appreciated. If you wish to learn more about our OC membership program, you can check out our membership video to get detailed description of all the perks you will receive. Don't miss out on the adventure. Become a member now and join us today. If these stories reminded you of an encounter that you may have had and would like to share, then please forward your stories to OntarioCryptids@gmail.com. I would be honored to share your story on this channel. Thank you all for listening until the end. I truly appreciate it. Please hit the like button on your way out and smash that subscribe button if you're new to my channel. Again, happy Canada Day to all my fellow Canadians, and have a wonderful long weekend. And I'll see you all next week, right here on Ontario Cryptids.